It's Thursday. This is the EST Hangout presented by Mott's Clamato. Caesar available in both original and variety 12 packs. Matt Iwanyk with you here. Today on the Hangout, Murray McCourt will be by. Well, he is by. He's right there.
Oh, hi.
And Joaquin Gage is scheduled to be by. The reason I say scheduled, he is coming. He just has to run an errand, so he's going to be a little behind. So for the first couple minutes, we're going to start with EST glue guy Jay Milne with us. How was the 4:30 wake-up call?
It's incredible. Yeah, I loved it.
Are you a morning person?
Well, if properly set up, yeah. Like, I didn't stay up late last night. You know, like, you have to prep. You got to be prepared. But the problem is I was, you know, you're nervous doing that. Like, there's no question about it. The first time you would have done it, you would have been nervous and so on and so forth.
I've never hosted a morning show.
You did this. You do this. Yeah. You know, there's nerves involved.
Oh, that part. I thought you were talking about the morning. I've actually never hosted a morning show.
I was terrified that I wouldn't, you know, for some reason my alarm wouldn't go off and I'd be stuck here and like Tommy's like, where the heck are you? So I actually texted Tom last night and I'm like, just to be cool, like for sure, like, can you text me at 5 in the morning just to make sure. So I texted him at about 4:40 this morning and gave him the thumbs up just to let him know I'm
You're
upright
awake.
and mobile and ready to go. Now, on the flip side of that, the really cool part of it is there's zero traffic.
Oh, it's weird on the streets.
I got here like 10 minutes earlier than normal. It was amazing.
It is weird on the streets at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, pitch black, nobody out there. It's kind of creepy. But what time did you go to bed last night to get up that early then?
10:30. I was like, I was in bed at about 10, but you know, checking stuff, looking at the draft results, you know, paying close attention to that. I dozed off probably around 10:30. Then my dog was barking at about 2 and I was up a bit. But it was a good sleep. It's nice now because today's Friday, right?
Today's Thursday.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, but it's my Friday because tomorrow we're heading down to Calgary for the in-laws' Christmas. So tonight the girls aren't going to school tomorrow, so we can kind of just chill out tonight.
There is no school tomorrow, though. School's last day is today.
Not where we are.
Oh,
and tomorrow,
I think it depends.
Tomorrow is the best day. So my daughter's missing her in-school volleyball tournament. She's missing PJ
Hold up.
day.
Who does an in-school volleyball tournament the day before Christmas break?
Thank you. That's what I thought. Ardrossan Elementary, just check yourself because that was just now she's heartbroken because she really wanted to be a part of it. It's also pajama day. I mean, who doesn't like pajama
volleyball
day?
in pajamas?
I don't know. I think they change into shorts.
I get that. But pajama day, a nice little fun thing for whoever does come to school. You could dress and have some fun. I do understand that one.
And cheese pizza, like Nietzsche's pizza day too.
No, you can't do a pizza day
They
on
did
the
it
last
all, I
day.
know.
It's like they forgot to do it all the fall,
Yeah.
and they went, "Oh boy, we got to scramble."
So
jam
all the girls,
these things in.
everything
all 3 girls in each of their classes, like half the kids aren't going to be there anyways. So I don't know.
Wow.
Your
It's a tough
kids out
look.
of school today?
Last day today, and
Yeah.
it's pajama day. And so my son's 5. He has
That's the best time to be alive, man.
his-
That's pajama day.
elf pajama bottoms and his Connor McDavid pajama top.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that.
And, you know, he's first ever Christmas party this year for kindergarten. His idea of dressing up for his Christmas concert, sorry, not party, was an Oilers jersey with a sport coat over top of it. And I'm like,
Hey, kids got moxie.
well, I know, but I'm not doing a great job as a dad because I'm a diehard Blackhawk fan. So, I should be a Connor Bedard jersey and a sport coat, not.
You know, there's a time of the year coming up that you can pass.
So
on
you're a
those
Clark
down.
Griswold fan.
Well, you know, I was just talking with Maddie about that. Like, all that draft, I had to turn it off the radio because I'm just not into that type of stuff.
You're not a Christmas movie guy?
Not really, no.
That's fair. Yep.
Yeah.
It looks like Tommy's doing really well.
Tom's going to win.
How was the morning show today? Because generally those polls are done before a morning show. How was it for you and Tommy? Recapping.
It was fine for Tommy because there's no way, given the amount of space between him and me, who's in second, there's no way really that unless we get another 1,000 votes in the next hour and a half, but there's no way he's going to lose. So he was relishing in it for sure.
He's at 31%. You're at 25%. Dusty and Eric both tied at 22%.
Oh, I moved up to
close,
25. Okay. Yeah. I'd like to see Dustin finish last.
I would like to actually I went on the EST Twitter account just to look at the results. And this tweet actually just came in. I'm re-listening to the draft, and there's no way in the North Pole that Dusty should have been allowed to continue drafting after asking the commish to text him or tell him what elf to pick. If that was anyone else, Dusty would demand they be punished. Tommy all the way. That's a very fair point. If some of the stuff that happened yesterday was with the other three and not Dusty, Dusty would have been very upset.
Or if his name wasn't attached to the draft. That makes a big difference.
You think that mattered?
I do. Like for me in particular, because nobody knows me yet, right? So if you're nameless, and that's the
people wanted to relegate Tommy.
But here's actually, you know what, win. Tom, or you know what, Maddie? Like,
thank you for calling.
Honestly, well, you're a winner, just like him.
That's a compliment. That's such a compliment.
He's far better looking than Zola. My God.
But you know what? It was actually pretty cool to see that. And credit to the Nasties, credit to the EST fans, because even though the names were up, Dusty and Eric are at the bottom.
Yes.
Right. And I think so it's.
I think we learned a little bit that in certain drafts it could be open like that.
Well, I still think you either got to be all time or no time. Like you either have to have the names released every time or 0% of the time. That's I think fair, because then it's consistent. You can't just say, because here's the thing. What if Dusty had a really bad draft like he did yesterday? And he's like, well, I need to cash in on my name. Right? And then old glue guy gets sewered a bit. I'm not saying that's what happened, and truthfully, the more and more I hang around here, people might like me more than Dustin. Who knows?
Wow.
I don't think
you probably need to hang around a few.
Yeah, probably about 30 years.
Yeah.
I will say in the draft, there's a chance for people to start being against Dusty. I was saying this yesterday to Eric. It would often turn in ways Dusty versus me as the commish. I'm a heel. People don't like me. So of course they rally around Dusty. But now I'm not around. And what Dusty does, the stuff that his wife doesn't like him for, is going to be on full display without someone for everyone else to get mad at.
True.
It's only going to be Dusty. And I think we saw the start of that yesterday where people were not happy with his draft. And they came at him yesterday. And I think when it comes to EST drafts, that is the beginning, the first crack in the foundation of the Dusty love by the Nasties. Not overall EST, but for the draft. I think we saw the first crack in the foundation of that, because I am not there for Dusty to send all the anger towards. They have nowhere else to go.
I didn't think I'd see it. I didn't think I'd see the day where he would get flack from the Nasties. But he was on blast several times during that draft last night or yesterday.
Well, how did Quinn do as commish?
I think
I'm unfair to answer that one.
No, I think as a bystander, you can absolutely answer that question. I personally think she's taking on a very difficult job. And like I was saying on the morning show, until you're sitting in that chair or until you're sitting in this chair, you don't know the pressure that's on you, right? So for Quinn to come in, and she was decisive in many different areas, and for better or worse, I just appreciated her quick decisiveness. But no, I think she did a great job. I do think that it was probably a learning lesson for her in some instances, like coaching Dustin through one of his picks was definitely picked up on by the Nasties and brought up. I do think it's also hard in the moment, to be able to say yay or nay to picks. That was a hard call for Rocky or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to make that. There maybe a bit more research from her end on the back end as to if those are valid picks or not. Rocky is just, it happens at Christmas, so I guess you're going to get that one. But the big one was that
if Rocky's allowed, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles needs to be allowed.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I also, though, we did this draft in 2020, and I allowed it. I allowed that pick.
Yeah, and you look at the cover of the movie.
The 30-year anniversary came out, and it has a North Pole pole, it has the Christmas colors, it has Christmas presents, snowflakes.
It's got it all.
The creators of that movie are saying this is a Christmas movie.
So you're backdooring on Quinn, and
Quinn
as
just,
a
Quinn
former
just sent out a
commish-
message. She said, "I learned a lot, and I will grow in that."
There we go, and that's good. I'm not part of those messages. because
That was on X. Have you heard of it?
Oh, is it?
Well, isn't
Where
that-
did she send that?
What's X?
Yeah, there's
still
new X
Twitter,
thing.
isn't it?
No,
Most
I
people
still call it Twitter. I'm not on that thread.
And that's what that's all you can ask, because it is a tough role. And until you're sitting there and you have these four dickheads looking at you saying that,
Not
and,
was
you
what
know,
was being said a couple weeks ago.
Well, you just
Not
put
at
your-
all
you-
what was being said a couple weeks ago against the other commissioner. No one decided then to be like, oh, it's a tough position. You know,
Tommy, you
were the
wanna
br-
tag me out
You could go,
and
Jay.
come
Yeah,
in?
I'm done with you now.
Yeah, he spit me out.
All right. Yeah, you too. Take care.
Jay, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Whatever it is.
Slavim Yoho. That's what it is. That's the response to that.
So guys,
So you can't say that like, oh, commissioner, we gotta give her a chance, and then he never gave me a chance. You, Dusty, and Eric are different because you've dealt with a lot of drafts with me.
Yeah.
That was the second one I had with Jay, and he was the first one starting solidarity. I don't buy into that.
Here.
Here. That's right.
Now listen, I knew when I saw Tommy G today that boy, I must have some pretty good fashion because look at this.
Jeez, you guys are looking really
We
tight.
did not
Good
call
style.
text each other this morning, and we are like twins, except
You look good, Murray.
someone's a little younger than me, but you know.
Yeah, I sold my soul to the devil.
You look like you got a little bit of a trim, or like it's a little
You fresh
tighter.
cut there?
Nah, not that fresh. It's
No?
actually a little long for me.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
experimenting with a few different hairstyles.
Oh, I see.
Because, you know, I am over 50, and I've always just been like messing it up, a
Yeah.
little spiky and things like that. And I'm thinking, is that the hairstyle for someone in their 50s? I don't know. I should
This
ask.
is good.
I like the
You
look
like
of
the
it.
look? All right. Well,
Mine, I
looking
just
good.
put Swedish hair cream in and let it do its thing.
is that what you do?
That's all it is.
All right.
But you look very nice today.
Oh, well, thank you.
to say.
Yes, because I'm dressed like you, so you have to say
Oh,
that.
no, you look great.
Yeah.
Hey, can I just say one thing? The vibe in here reminds me of our old shop around this time of year where it's like really casual and it's just easygoing. We're just kind of cruising into.
Isn't that what the Hangout's all about?
Yeah, well, it is, and that's kind of.
But like,
beauty
no, I
of
know
it.
what you, Christmas Eve. I think I mentioned this on the Hangout last week. Was my favorite day of the year to work at the station because it was like the people that are still listening. Because look, everyone has their own things that's around.
Yeah,
Now today's
it's
not
busy.
Christmas Eve, so it's a little more finishing up. But people are closing out their work week this week.
sure, yeah.
No one really wants to work on a Friday. For some people, they're trying to get today done, or they were like Dusty and Eric, and they were done yesterday or something. So people that are tuned in, they're in a good mood.
Yep.
It's almost Christmas season for them.
Yep.
You know, it's a quiet time, and then there's also not a lot really going on. So no one's that passionate about anything. That it's just a very relaxing time, and generally the alcohol's flowing very nicely, and yeah.
As it
It's
tends
just
to
For
be.
Christmas
guys that get
Eve.
shoulder surgery tomorrow and you can't.
Yeah, that's right.
Today's the rough one. Water only.
Water only.
No
all day,
food.
No food.
No
Gonna be-
food? You have
no
to
food.
fast?
You got
Oh,
fast.
man.
And at some point, I'm getting a call to find out when it is tomorrow. So that hopefully earlier, not later. Otherwise,
But-
2 days without food would be.
Yeah, you're skinny enough. You don't need to drop any LBs from not putting any food in your body, man.
Surgery's interesting. Like, I had knee surgery a dozen years ago or whatever. It's a weird process. You've gotten surgery, right?
No, never.
I think you can get anxiety depending, obviously, on what kind of surgery. Like mine was, I could have gotten a full knee, not replacement, but like full cartilage and ACL done. It would have been like a 6-month process. He's got, with his torn labrum, he's got like was it 5 or 6 months?
That's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
Like it could be upwards of a year.
Damn. But you want to
depending.
potentially be golfing by the,
If I
June?
golf next year, it'd be August. If
okay.
that's
Well, you
the
could get 2
soonest or
months.
something. So I
Put
can
in
still
the
make
work.
it or something.
Put in the work, and you can get yourself healthier quicker. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to put in the
But
work.
I'm
man.
also willing to just give up that month or two of golf to make sure I'm ready to go for 2025
Well,
and
fair-
beyond.
fair enough,
That's
fair
the one I'm willing to give up this entire golf season if that means I am then going to be just fine starting 2012. As like, look, I get hurt again with something
Yeah.
else,
Short-term
but that
pain
this
for long-term
injury
gain. I
won't
get it,
be
yeah.
a problem come 2025, and then I don't have to worry about it again.
And
unless I do something stupid again.
And part of it's a mental thing too, but like the surgery process is I found it really neat. Do you remember Jimmy Quinlan?
Oh, I'm buddies with Jimmy.
Yeah,
he's
his
awesome.
dad was there for the surgery, and I remember him being like, "Hey, I know you do sports," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm Jimmy Quinlan's dad." No way. He's like, "You're gonna be fine. You got a great surgeon. This that," and he like talked me through it, wheeled me into the operating room, and I really thought it was a neat process. Now the pain and the stiffness and all of that is something that you have to deal with, but you're better after, obviously, and it takes time to heal up. But I actually kind of enjoyed that. Wow. They're like, "Okay, what knee are you getting done, left or right?" I'm like, "Right." They're like, "Put a yes on your leg," and I'm
to
like,
make sure, yeah.
"Yes, no," and then they're prepping you, and you get all ready, and then you're just kind of like sitting and waiting, and they're like, "Okay, time for you to go in." I think they put me in a wheelchair, if I'm not mistaken, and I was like, "I'm okay." Like they're like, "Okay, now we're gonna get you on the bed," and you get on the bed, and then they wheel you, and you're like, "This is odd," and then they wheelchair you out of the hospital. I'm like, "I can walk," and
Yeah, but that's policy, isn't it?
it's a policy,
Yeah.
yeah. And they're like, "No, we have to take you out on a wheelchair," and they said, and even though it was it ended up just being a scope, but even though it was just a scope, they're like, walk on it a little bit. Like, they give you like a pamphlet with the exercises, and they're like, do this, and I did them, but they're like, you need to like walk on it a little bit just to make sure it's moving around. I found the whole thing very fascinating and interesting. And again, it wasn't like a super major, it was a scope, but I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. But obviously for other people, they handle it differently, and the type of surgeries obviously affecting that.
Well, the closest I think I've come, it's not really a surgery, but just recently I had a procedure done on my throat because I choke all the time, and a couple of times I almost died.
That's
from
probably
people
a
in the
surgery.
Heimlich maneuver. And,
Yeah.
But it is kind of neat what they did, because I had to go under because they basically stretched out my esophagus. And so, you go there, you're laying in the bed and you're talking to people, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're, where the hell am I?
Yeah.
I'm not in the same spot I was when I was asleep, and you don't know what the heck's going on. You don't know what time it is or whatever, and like
They pulled. Did they have the tube? And I thought I threw up, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, I puked everywhere." And the nurse is like, "You're fine, hon. You're fine. You did not puke everywhere. We just pulled the tube out because we saw you were waking up." I'm like, I can't believe I puked. Do you want me to clean it up? They're like, "No, you didn't puke." I was like, I'm pretty sure I puked. But
I know better
I
than
know
you
that
right now.
feeling. Yeah, and so that part of it was interesting. But like, you have the torn labrum, and I remember like Luke Gazdick, and Alish Hemsky, and Sean Horkoff. I think when I was, or maybe Hork had already had the surgery, but they had like a nasty scar. Oh boy, it was like jagged. But I don't know if it
Were
was
they
the
opened?
same thing.
I think they were opened.
They were like cut right open.
Yeah, I'm getting the
just go
cameras in
now?
or whatever, and just
Oh,
a couple
okay.
of points. I think
And
I don't
you'll
think
just
I'm
have,
getting
like,
it opened
little
or
incision
anything.
marks?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have the
Yeah.
incision marks, and
I remember
dealt with that.
Yeah, I remember Gaz. He had like a big one, and he's like, "Yeah, man." They like opened it all up, and they like cleaned everything, and they reattached stuff, and I was like, "Whoa." He's like, "Yeah, it was nasty," and like you'd lose a lot of the muscle, obviously.
probably a little more severe tear than what Maddie's got.
Well, my the arm is completely functioning. I could lift, like I don't feel any pain, except when I golf. Sometimes the pain will come, and it's a random time.
Is
I
it
can't
sharp?
guarantee when it comes.
sharp
Oh
pain?
yeah, then it just like goes down the whole arm and stuff, and
yeah, that's not
it's weird, and then it just goes dead. Like it's weak
Yeah.
for a while. But that it's like right now, like I could live if I don't have surgery, I'd be fine. Like I don't need this right now. Obviously, it's probably gonna get worse.
Yeah.
So I want to golf though, so I need to get it done.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, Jeff Chriselle, I was talking with him on the phone last week about something, got into this, and he says everyone has tears in their labrum. It's just
The amount.
how big it gets and when it becomes a problem, and that's why. But the average person actually has a few tears in their labrum. You just never realize it, and you don't know about it. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Shouldn't be surprising, I guess, because the amount you use your arms for all kinds of stuff. sports, whatever.
And the labrum's not something like you can't just see it. I've learned this right away. Like it can't be on an X-ray, can't be on an ultrasound. It has to be an MRI.
It's the only way you can find out.
They can't. That's why, because I initially had a year ago or whatever, a year and a half ago, I had an X-ray and an ultrasound and nothing was shown. And that's when I had Dr. Boris Boyko, who's retiring, a former now Elks doctor. He said that's the reason that it wasn't noticed, was that it's MRI. I needed a dye injected into me, actually. They put that in. And
and it runs through your blood and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. That part of the scientific process always fascinates me. I had eye surgery done a year and a half ago, and people are like, oh, I was talking to Gene Principe, and he's like, you're getting LASIK? I'm like, yeah, man. I just don't want to wear glasses or contact lenses anymore. And he goes, don't they like cut open your eye and peel back the lens and cornea? Yeah, and
Is that what they did?
Yeah, they do, and I found it fascinating. They're like, okay, Tom, in about 3 seconds, you're not going to be able to see for a couple seconds, and then your eyesight will come back. I'm like, oh, okay, and then boom,
Dear God.
they and you can see him pull the flap, and then it fades to the dark, and then like a couple seconds later, it's like boom, you can see again, and then the laser like does the zaps your eye, fixes it, reshapes everything. And then puts the flap back down, puts a little bit of drops on there, and you're good to go. Next eye.
Sounds disgusting.
It sounds like it, but I was
You're
like,
awake for this?
oh yeah, and
No.
you have like they give you like stress balls, and then there's if you want, they have like a nurse or like a helper that like kind of like holds your hand and they'll like pet your hand. My brother had the same surgery done. And he's like, hey, did you get the really cute nurse in there? Did she hold your hand and like pet to make sure you were okay? And I was like, well, I saw a girl going around and like checking on everyone as they're waiting to go in for the surgery, asking if you're okay, because you can get stressed out. You're awake for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I remember her coming to me and being like, are you nervous? I'm like, no, I'm good to go. Like, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to be able to not have glasses and contact lenses. She's like, would you like me to come in with you and like walk you through it? I was like, you don't have to. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Am I up next? Let's go.
You were missing an opportunity, and she was cute.
She was super nice, and she was cute. Yeah, but my brother like brought this up, and he's like, "Did you get the And I was like, "Yeah, I had the same one, but no, I didn't need her to come and like pet my hand and tell me it's gonna be okay." Unlike my brother Mike, who had that. But I saw there, and different people handle these things differently, obviously. Because there was a guy that was probably 10 years older than me that was like, yeah, and he just flat out said it. He's like, I'm kind of stressing out about this. Wow. Like it seems quick and it seems, quote unquote minor, but I'm kind of panicking about this. And she's like, okay, well, I could talk you through it. I could help you out. I could be there with you and you're going to be fine. This clinic's excellent. If you want. And he's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind if you did come in and yeah, I guess it helps just to have someone there, kind of thing. But I'm have this weird fascination with it, where I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, yeah, put me under. Or, yeah,
you're weird.
Cut my eye open. Oh man, that's cool.
I don't like the eye in general. Like I don't have contacts. I won't put contacts in because I don't want to go through the process of it's just weird to me. I will just wear the glasses or one day maybe get the surgery. But as you're explaining that to me, like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get that surgery.
Glasses are good.
Glasses are just fine. I'm glad we're in a day and age where glasses are there's some fashionable ones out there and stuff. And it's not like it was back in the day when we were younger and stuff. But yeah, I don't like people that just terrifies me. Like, you're going to go blind for a couple of seconds.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
Literally happens. I wish I did it sooner. Yeah. Honestly. Like, I think they said around 25, 26, your eyes are kind of like set. And I waited like an extra 10 years. But I wish I had done it sooner. But there are people. And when I was talking to Gene about it and explaining the surgery and how it works, he's like, oh, stop, I'm going to throw up. Like, as soon as you said that they cut the eye and then you go dark for a bit, he's like, I can't do that. No more, Tom. And I was like, okay, well, fine. But
Jillian Foote got it done.
Yeah.
And she praised it too.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think everyone that does it says it's great. It just sounds gross, but
yes.
The next day.
I also want to wait another probably 15 to 20 years.
Well, the technology will...
It'll get better.
But seeing what happens.
My uncle got it like 15 years ago. And the way he described it compared to how mine went was completely different. And he's had to go for touch-ups and stuff. And so, yeah, what?
Lyle says in the nasty chat, when I had my laser eye surgery, they didn't tell me about the 5-second blackout. It scared the bleep out
I
of me.
bet.
Oh,
yeah.
like
If they didn't
that
tell
would-
you.
yeah.
Holy.
I knew about it.
Whoa.
Yeah, that would freak.
Those would be the longest
Yeah.
5 seconds of your life. I think I just
Exactly.
made the biggest mistake. Oh my God, I'm
Exactly, yeah.
blind.
Yeah, good point. If they didn't tell you about that and that happens, then you're freaked out for sure.
Sorry, Lyle.
You know,
Yeah,
Lyle, that
that's
sucks,
crazy.
man. But
Yeah, that fear that would have come over him
Yeah.
at that moment.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What just happened? Like, do you guys go to chiropractors?
I need to.
Well, it's the same thing though. You think about that when they take your neck and
Yeah.
or do different things to you, and you hear all these cracks on your spine. Like, I'm like,
I don't like
oh,
that.
my fingers still work, my toes still work. Like,
It's that severe?
The sounds that it makes, and it's like, this is my freaking neck and my spine, and it's so it is scary in a way.
Yeah.
Well-
that your body is my body still going to work after what just happened to it?
When I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me, I did go to a chiro.
Yeah.
And on the first time I was there, something cracked, and I just kind of went like, "Whoa!" And the guy's like, "You okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I wasn't expecting that." And he's like, "Neither was I." And I was like, "Oh, that's good."
That would freak me
And
out.
he's like, "You in pain?" I was like, "No, I'm good right now." And then over the course of the next week, it was fine. Everything felt good. And then I came back for another appointment because what I've learned is chiros, they try to keep getting you coming back for appointments.
Yeah.
He did some things.
like
he
an
put some
iPhone.
pressure in the area for where that oh boy happened.
Yeah.
And then over the course of the next like 3 or 4 days, it got like in my rib area, it got worse and worse and worse and worse. Where like every time I was breathing, it was hurting.
Whoa.
And so I eventually went to the non-emergency urgent care center. And the doctor I had hated chiros. Like was like, "Oh, what happens?" Like I was at a chiro. He's like, "Ah," and he just like doesn't like the idea of chiros. I thought I like fractured a rib or something. Just like there's muscles in the area, I guess, hurt that area, strained
Yeah.
a muscle in those areas. But that was, and then I was like, I'm never doing a chiro again.
Yeah, it's scary for sure.
Some
for that
people
same reason.
love it.
Well, hey, it's helpful.
Yeah.
And, every time I've gone, my fingers and toes still worked. And it was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I can walk. But
The
it's
cracking
it's the
sounds
cracking
so weird.
sound is
Like
so,
it's you crack your knuckles, it's one thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
When you hear bigger cracks of the rest of your body,
Well, when it's your neck or your
Yeah.
spine, like, are you kidding
That
me
would
right
freak
now?
me out. One last one on the surgery / injury thing, because he's talking about a labrum. I'm talking about my knee, eyes aside.
and that was hockey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I tore ACL, MCL, hockey, and actually in high school soccer, it really messed up. Like it was like a partial tear in hockey and like Bantam or midgets, so like U15 and U18 now, and then playing high school soccer at practice one day, went to make a play and just planted the wrong way, and the boys on the team were like, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, my knee, it was like locked up. And I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't get up. Coach was like, get up, Tom, get up. I'm like, I can't, like something's wrong. And the boys were like, we heard something pop like downfield.
No.
They're like,
you
that was
didn't
your
hear
knee?
it?
No, I heard it. Oh, I heard it. I
it's-
felt it and I
okay.
heard it.
It's like when I think it was John White snapped his Achilles. Dave was at the training camp for that, and he's like, I heard it. Like everyone just heard the snapping of the Achilles, and you
And
just
there's
know at that
tension.
point.
Yeah, there's tension on that Achilles. So I was gonna say, in regard to that, for golf, because he's gonna be out with the labrum surgery. What are the common injuries? Is it hips? Is it shoulders? Is it something else that we don't expect? What do you usually see from guys who've been golfing for dozens
Wow.
and decades? And
Just back in general.
Back?
Yeah, because like if you don't swing with your body all in connection and move your lower body and your upper body working together, like if you're doing things like this with your swing and separating your upper body from your lower body, that causes all kinds of weird tension and strain on your back. And if you're doing that time after time, 60, 70, 80 shots a round with
Yeah.
full swings and you're, getting your body in all these crazy weird positions, yeah, you can hurt yourself, absolutely.
oh man, yeah, because you're torquing in a weird way. So are you like you've got members over at the ranch, obviously?
Oh, 0 members.
Oh, because it's all tournaments.
Yeah, well, public play. Yeah,
Public play
and
in
tournaments.
tournaments.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, but like your regulars, I'm sure you've had men and women going there for decades, obviously. The ones that have been like the regular golfers that they have a few rounds each week, there has to be some injuries. And what are some of the common ones? And what are the solutions for golf? Is it yoga?
Well,
Is it treatment? Like, what is it?
more so than people that I see on the VIP golf show, I have as a regular guest like a Jordan Jeske,
Golf Society.
from the Golf Society and a project, and what he does in terms of fitness to get your body ready to play golf, and then have physios on talking about the relationship between a physiotherapist and golf. And I had Jeff Chrishell on this year talking about that, and so they all end up seeing a ton of golfers, and the trunk slammers that just come in last minute and go to the first tee and not prepare their body to play, and like with Jordan and fitness and getting your body strong and limber, but you're right, yoga and that flexibility is huge, but also strength and having some core strength and your back strong and all those types of things to protect yourself. Like I've had several back injuries in my life that I still deal with, and a big part of fixing those and helping those is core strength, back strength, like just being strong and being fit is helpful in that for everything, not just golf, but just life in general.
Day to
right
day.
now.
Yeah. Yoga's I started
incredible.
doing it after hockey, and it's a game changer.
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah. I used to mock it. Now it's like, I probably should do more.
Yeah, it is incredible, and going to hot yoga classes, and it's that as a guy.
Yeah, that part of it's nice.
Yeah.
I know because everybody's wearing skin tight clothing and all that, but the breathing element.
Well, okay, yeah. You
What?
want to talk about the? There's other advantages besides that.
Yeah, I
it's
know,
good, yeah.
but like we're talking about like visually, yes. Yoga is a haven for very attractive women to go and stretch. Like we know that, but like the actual like breathing component of yoga, I find is like really important. And it's funny, like if you breathe properly while you're stretching, it will like crack certain parts of your body, and you're
Really?
like, you're like, yeah, like my lower back has been an issue, and my SI joint popped out when I was golfing in Phoenix. It was brutal. I was at staying at a 55 plus community. My parents had a home, and I remember walking to the hot tub one day because my SI joint, my whole left leg was just brutal. Like it could barely move, and it was like searing pain. And like a guy in his like 70s is like, "You're the youngest guy in this community, and you're walking around like the oldest guy." I popped something when I was golfing.
But so that stretching and things like that is easy to fix that type of stuff too. There's certain, depending on exactly where it is. I mean, whether you Google or you talk to like an expert, they can tell you which stretches to do, and that's going to fix that in a big hurry for you.
Well, I was calling my buddy, the chiropractor, Dustin, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And then I was calling Brian Cheeseman, who was with the Canadian World Junior team, I think, at the time. And I think it was a game day. I'm like, geez, I can't even move my leg. I'm in pain. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. And he's like, I'm kind of busy, but because it's you, I will email you some stretches for your SI joint and do these. I'm like, I can't move, man. He's like, do these. Take this muscle relaxant medicine and do these stretches. And thank you, Cheese. That's how good of a athletic therapist he is. He's one of the best, and the Elks got a good one. That's why he did World Juniors. He did the Olympics, and then he was with the Oil Kings forever. But man, and Murray, it was just repetition, swinging, torquing, and then never doing anything about it.
Well, and then so Steve Lines, who you obviously know, Sevy, and good buddies with him, and play golf with him.
Great golfer too.
He's gotten like him. He's improved so much in the last decade.
Good.
Holy, but like I golfed with him one time. I remember golfing with him, and I was complaining about my back being sore. Exactly, kind of what you're talking about. And we were waiting on a tee box, and he goes, "Well, I'll lay on the ground for a couple minutes. I'll do." And boy, 5 minutes later, wham bam, hello, I'm fixed up, and like, what the heck did you just do to me? Like, that's why he's been with the Oilers for over 1,000 games. Right?
Yeah, Sevy's one of the best. Great guy.
Absolutely,
excellent golfer.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, look at this guy walking in, filling his face with all the treats out there.
Big Maple Sports Card did say he'll make me a mixtape of dolphins mating. So just
what's up, big boy?
Hey, how are
Gager.
Hey, I got a special cup of coffee there for you.
Do you want this seat?
Yes.
Yeah, real
you got
special.
pre-post to go get
Oh.
ready for. How did
yeah.
you? Nicely done.
Yeah, same to you, buddy. Take care.
Pass my best to Jess and Luke.
Yeah,
Merry
will do,
Christmas,
buddy.
sir.
Christmas, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Hey,
Enjoy
Tommy,
pre-posts.
Tommy,
that was Tom Zola here on
can
the
you
EST Hangout.
top up my special cup of coffee?
yeah, I don't want
it's
it.
on the
Murray
on
McCourt
the
and
top of the counter there.
Joaquin Gage
Good to
now
see you, man.
joining us.
Merry Christmas to you.
How was getting the car?
Yeah, that's it's a tough one, tough hit for at Christmas time.
Yeah.
But I guess what happened was the emergency brake,
Appreciate it, Tommy G.
the cables.
behave.
See you, buddy. Came loose, and it was engaging the calipers in the back, causing them to heat up. And the problem is that during the dry roads. This is so interesting. The dry roads, there was enough friction to keep the wheel turning, but once it got cold out and the ABS was coming on because it was feeling like they were turning at different rotations. But essentially some damage.
Are you talking about your car or an F1 car that
No,
you're
this is
dreaming of working
this
on
is
right
my
now?
son's car.
Oh,
so
your
I had
son's
to.
car. Okay.
He offered to pay for half of the repairs. So
That was nice of him
Yeah,
on his own car.
yeah. So.
Was it just because the car got old?
No.
Or
It's only
did
a
he do
2013. Yeah, so it's a good car.
It just happened?
Yeah, it's just yeah.
See, I hate cars. This is one of the reasons I hate cars.
Yeah.
It's just you pump money into it. And yes, you get the transportation out of it.
Pretty
That's
important.
an important one.
Yeah.
But you never get your money returned or anything. Like a house, you put your money into it, you could get it back. Or you get a large
Depends on
chunk
the
of
car.
it back, right?
Depends on the car. but-
Yeah. The cars most people drive, you're not getting it back.
No, it's you're using it and driving that thing. Like my car, I'm driving it into the ground.
Yes.
It'll be in the ditch. That's it. But it's been a great car. But yeah, no, you know what? There's nothing. I don't think there's anything more valuable than a good mechanic. And shout out to Mark G Auto, unbelievable people over there. If you need anything, take your car there. They're great. But my son actually played lacrosse as a kid with one of my friend's sons worked there. He's part of the family anyway. But I walked out of there with my son. I go, look, you have something so valuable right now. You have a friend who's a mechanic.
Yes.
that works at a reputable auto shop. So for the rest of your life, you can take your car to your buddy and he's going to take care of it.
Yeah, don't lose that friendship.
No, do not mess up
Or
that friendship.
get friends with a few other people there, just in case somebody moves or something. You're locked in. The family mechanic or a friend mechanic, those people are the luckiest.
Gold.
Yeah.
Because I got something wrong, call them up. I have a couple buddies that have a family mechanic, and they just go over and get it looked at whenever something's going wrong or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I wish.
Well, yeah, my buddy Jordan, that's his family's business. He would just, I need to put my tires on. I'll just take it in and go shoot the crap with the guys in the garage and switch the tires.
Bring a case of beer, and
Yeah,
you're good to go.
Cheers.
I have a
Cheers
family
to you.
member who's a mechanic, but he lives
just
on the
water because
island,
of his surgery tomorrow.
so I don't get the
But you think
advantages
about
of that.
with everything. Like, I have a friend that's a doctor.
Okay. Yep.
Like if you, I've heard stories about this where guys are friends with a doctor and then you meet him and you're like, wow, it's so nice to meet you, and you're the first person that didn't say, oh, by the way, I got this going on, or that going on. Like, would you mind, like, so the mechanic, like, geez, would you mind taking a look at my, like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know. You don't want to abuse it.
Yeah.
No.
But
Your car shouldn't be that many issues,
I think
right?
with the mechanic, it's a little bit easier because you can go, hey, you want to go for a ride? I'll take it for a spin. And then they're, hey, this doesn't feel, I'll bring it in. I'll have a look at it.
You gotta have a nice car for that, though. You can't just have I got this minivan. Hey, you want to take my minivan for a spin?
Yeah.
But my son was actually thinking about selling it or whatever. He goes and getting some money, and I was like, you got a reliable car here. But then now that his friend came out of the garage and they were talking, young I think he's 20, but they were like, sweet ride. It's like, thanks. So,
It's a 2013 what?
2013 Honda Civic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2-door manual. It's a lot of fun to drive.
Is it?
Yeah, I love the manual.
I never learned manual.
Me
and
neither. I don't know how to
regret-
drive a
What?
stick. No clue.
Oh my God, you guys are missing out.
JMO at one point he switched cars and he went back to a manual, and he'd come in like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
so much fun.
if you don't, I don't like doing it in traffic though. This clutch stop starts, that sucks. But there's nothing like, it was funny. It was a year ago. I was at a party, and a lady more of my vintage, I would say, was talking about she was getting her motorcycle license. She wanted to ride a motorcycle. So it was cool.
Wow.
So she was so anxious and filled with anxiety going to do the testing and getting the going through the courses and stuff. She was so, all these young guys, and she gets there and all these young guys and they're brand new Harley leathers and all, they're racing stuff. And she's like, oh my gosh, none of them none of them could ride because they can't do a clutch. They've never done it before. But because she grew up in a car with a clutch, she understood it, right? So these guys are, and she's just.
I got a staff member at the ranch. It's like one of our key staff members, and he really wants. Adam Wizard is his name. He really wants a motorcycle, and I'm like, no, you're not getting a motorcycle. And so, like, we've had some pretty good years at the ranch the last few years, and so our staff gets some pretty good bonuses, and so the bonuses get paid out around mid-December every year. And the last couple of years, I've told him, okay, you getting your bonus, it's going in your bank account on Friday, but you are not buying a freaking motorcycle, because I don't want him getting a motorcycle. And I mean, he does such a great job for us, and motorcycles are scary, man. You can't like they.
Do you ever want one though?
No,
You?
no way.
Of course, I want one, but no.
Have you ever rid on one or anything?
Yeah, just
Yeah?
like a little bit, right? But yeah, I want.
I'm too big of a chicken.
Well, me too. And I don't.
You don't win any accidents.
No, you don't win.
You
No,
lose.
No,
You're
but you get the
game
speed
over.
fun.
Well, I don't want to drive it in the city. I want to go for ice cream in like Jasper, where I'd like the long cruising roads and stuff. Like there's a road, I don't know if you've ever been up to Whistler, but seeing motorcycles going on that road, because it's all nice and windy, one of the best little roads to go on. My buddy, back in the day, they had Ninjas, which was completely stupid. And my one buddy really road rash all the way up his side, like had to lay it down. Yeah, so no.
But and a lot of I can't paint them all with the same brush, but like you're driving in a traffic jam on Henday, and all of a sudden a motorcycle comes up like between cars, like, and you're just like,
dumb.
what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they do look like they're having fun when you're out on the Henday normal traffic.
Oh,
and
just-
or you get on the yellowhead, or like they're on the highway or something. They do look like they're having a good time.
Well,
but I could never
about,
do
though,
it.
You're on that long drive out to Jasper on your motorcycle, and a freak rainstorm happens,
yeah.
and you're like,
little moist after that.
yeah, how does that work out?
You find the nearest restaurant or hotel or something. You stop maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't be fun. And you see that sometimes, right? Driving down the QE2 or
Oh, I
something like
know,
that,
yeah.
and it's pouring rain. Your windshield wipers are going like crazy, and there's a motorcycle there.
This guy
and
is
you're like,
just
oh
so
my god.
Would you go Harley or like one of those little speedsters?
Oh, I'd get a Harley.
You'd want the
or
Harley?
my buddy's got. He's got like 5 bikes. Mike he bought an Indian, a touring bike though. It's amazing. Like sitting on that and the sound system and everything. Like it's funny because when he'll be driving and the sound will pick up, but when he comes to a stop, it lowers so it doesn't blast everywhere. But it looks like a lot of fun. But
All I have is Road Rash 64 for the N64, where you have to race people and you're beating people next to them. We need an N64 here, so that's the only thing I still have of an N64 is that one game, and
I saw a
I loved
gaming
it.
console out there. What is that one?
That's Nintendo, the original and Nintendo Entertainment System. Kevin dropped it off for us, so we've got
Wow.
Super Mario. There's some Tecmo. There's some of those games. So it's that's old. That's like the OG Nintendo. So it's got original Super Mario and Duck Hunt, I think it's called. Yeah, it was Duck Hunt. Yeah, where you get the gun and you shoot the ducks and stuff. And it was so much fun.
And I see the stack of booze over in the corner that's not
Yes.
even fitting in the fridge, and you got that. I mean, I texted you guys yesterday because I had a massage downstairs, and I was going to come up and hang out with you guys for a bit after my massage, and you guys were all gone. I'm like, you got so much fun stuff to do around here. Why do you guys ever leave? Wait,
Well, one, Dusty had has family. He's got kids. He's got to look after.
Fair.
That's the biggest one for him. They all some of the boys. They were here since 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, but then it's fun. But you can
Yeah.
have fun.
But
Do you think that
Need a break.
YouTube Trev is just going to leave here and go home and sit on a couch and get some, he's going out and having some fun?
no, he's getting a little bit of sleep. We all get the sleep.
All right.
I'm not gonna lie. When I did some of those mornings, that was the best part of the day. Was getting home and getting the nap in and getting
that feels
the
good.
45 to an hour. Just like, that is great, and tides me over until I have to do it again the next day. I'm
I've
so
hung out
thankful. I
with
don't
you
have to-
guys a time or two. You guys, like Lieutenant Eric, whew,
Yeah.
that guy knows how to have some fun, man.
But he has slowed down in his age.
Really?
Oh,
So he was a guy back at 1260. He'd go out the night before and roll into work from the night out,
before?
basically.
Wow.
Like that's basically what he would potentially do. There would be almost no rest in between. He'd just come in and do it, and he'd be perfectly fine. And Eric doesn't do that anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
That's tough. Yeah,
but he's
that's
still
a young
he's
man's game right there.
yeah. But and the thing about Eric these days is he is the master of ghosting.
yes, that
He
night
throws the smoke
we're all
bomb.
in the,
Yes.
my suite at the football
He
game.
just is gone.
He was just gone.
Yep. That's what he does. And it's
Yeah.
just, you just know it, that's going to happen. There's a point where everyone will be like, hey, anyone seen Eric? No, okay, he left. Like, you just know. And you don't have, like, for the most part, you don't get worried because you're like, well, yeah, he's gone. And he's walking home right now. Like, that's the type of
He
thing.
walked to the football game with a half sack of beer or whatever else he had with him.
Well,
I don't know.
he did move. So now he's added a little bit of line time into those walks.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Because he moved quite a bit away
Yeah.
from downtown. So before, when he was just
he's
right
on
where he was,
the West
it was
End.
only walking.
Yeah.
And then he moved a little further away. So he adds a little bit of alignment.
That's still a good jaunt from his old
yeah.
apartment. When
yeah.
I finally figured out where he lived, I go, "You walk all the way?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "Well," and it's funny because every time I see Eric at the football games afterwards for his sustenance for the walk home with that I give him a couple hot dogs. He's with someone new, and I go, "Oh, what's your?" And yeah, we just met a few hours ago. Been hanging out all day. Like,
Wow.
he is
Social butterfly.
Oh,
The
he
Holt
can-
brothers are very much social buddies.
He can cultivate a friendship in minutes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, great guy.
Oh,
Holy,
that's
like,
awesome.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not like I'm not good with that.
Yeah.
It's tough for me. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just awkward and it's weird to me. But
Yeah.
for Eric, no, it doesn't matter to him.
That's great.
He could just talk.
It's a good skill.
So
That is a great
that's an
skill.
amazing
Yeah,
skill,
right.
especially in this
100%.
line of work and stuff.
Yeah.
I did run. There's a few people I've run into in radio that are very shy and don't like. They're not outgoing in any way, shape, or form, which is very weird because of what we do.
Well,
Right?
I
Wow.
ran
That's
into
different.
Garner and
Yeah.
Garner
Andrews with Sonic.
Yeah, and I you hear him on the radio and stuff. And he seemed quite reserved, and maybe it was I was like, I thought he would be much more outgoing than his. So his street personality is a lot different than his radio personality.
Oh yeah, it's weird in that way.
Yeah.
And then there's the Yukon Jacks of the world
it doesn't
who
matter.
are Yukon
Yeah,
Jacks.
yeah, that is
yeah.
you.
Like the loudmouth, just out there,
Yeah.
personable too, like all that. That's all Yukon Jack, 100%.
Would it be possible to get Yukon here? At
I
some
want to
point?
get it. Do it. So the problem with getting Yukon here, and I've actually never asked him fully. He's on air till 10.
Oh, okay.
But they are just right down the road.
I know.
So getting him for an hour, like if he could
Even
cut away,
45 minutes.
like he cutting away. I think he could cut away from
Yeah.
his show's on till 10. They're usually done by like 9:45.
They just tape it all anyway. They're done.
They
by
could. He could tape a couple of segments.
Yes, absolutely.
I know how the sausage
Yeah.
is made in that building.
Yes.
You know, like
Yeah.
I know how it's done.
You do,
I
you
know
do.
their schedule and how things work right now with them. So there's a couple of days I could see like, hey, sneak out even a little early. Just come here and do this. So he's one I would love to get on next year. So is Jess Jackson
Yeah.
from the Bear. But
Oh,
Jess
she's
is
amazing.
on
Yeah.
from
Oh,
10
yeah.
until 2.
She's calling sick.
So we need a vacation day of Jess
Yeah,
to,
for sure.
and then force her to work on a vacation day and come on here and have her. She was supposed to stop by this week, but ran
Those
out
two
of time.
together would be
that's great.
would be a lot of fun for sure.
Oh, we had a lot of fun with them.
Yeah.
I remember
good
the
times.
first time. I think Warren Barris.
Bears, yes.
Barris.
Nasty Club member.
Is he?
Yep.
I had to hold one of his legs as he did a keg stand years ago.
Were you there for that?
Yeah, I was. That phrase was still with the show.
Wow. That's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And I remember because I had been on the 1260 a few times prior. And I sent a message to Dusty that I was moving to FM. I don't need him anymore. Whatever.
Oh.
But I
didn't realize you were. I forgot that you were there because there was a bunch of wrestlers. that were there.
I met. There was a wrestler there. I forget. He had like he had like fangs. He was like a vampire kind of theme going. It was pretty funny. But I had no idea how FM worked. Like I didn't know that they kind of did their segments ahead of time and then just hung out, because on Dusty's show that's what it was, all live.
We're live.
Really,
you can't pre-tape sports talk or news talk for the most part. You can pre-tape a couple segments like interviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, often the segments there, it depends. There's three ways it's done, I would say. Some do it just live.
Okay.
Some record, do some quick edits, and play that for their breaks.
Yeah.
And some do a mix where they actually record some stuff, talk into it, and then play it and make it sound like it's all one live thing. And actually, Toby and Warren from The Bear are masters at that.
Really?
They do very good. If you're listening, you're going to think it's live the entire time. Some of the stuff they're playing actually was just recorded.
Yeah.
But they masterfully go from live to this recording back to live in a snap of a finger. And it's just, it's beautiful to watch.
It's amazing because it does sound live. Like they're great. They're doing so much stuff and just acting like jerks in between. Like I can't believe they get stuff done all the time, but they're masters at their craft. It was
no doubt.
I loved going over there and seeing those guys.
But talk for 45 minutes in the hour, guys. Do that.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about a little bit earlier with Glue Guy and doing this type of stuff. Like you'll remember this, Maddie. When I started the VIP golf show on TSN 1260 5 years ago, the only training or whatever that I had with it is me and my co-host Curtis Stock. We went into a studio and we talked about golf for like 15 minutes one day.
Yeah.
That was our training.
yeah.
And then, so Maddie and JMO, we're at the station for week 1 of the show, and man, like they gave us some great feedback after it. So I changed some things up and made sure that I did more of the intros and extros because make sure it was because it's my show and stuff like that, and gave us feedback. But I mean, that was literally my training. Was 1 15-minute time in a booth just sitting around with Curtis Stock talking golf and. There, now you have your own show and go talk for.
That's great.
I mean, at that time it was an hour. Now it's
it was
an hour and a half, but whatever. But I mean, man, but I just love doing so much, and I love coming here. But it's all so natural now that it's just fun.
It's great.
But
it's great.
But you were talking about though too, like in a different setting, like you go to a networking thing, and if there's a group of guys over there that you don't know, I'm not that guy that's going to walk up to a group of strangers and say, "Hey, I'm Murray. How you guys doing?" Mm-hmm. Like if they come approach me, yeah, of course I'll engage and communicate. But sitting in front of a microphone, which other people would be like, "Oh my God, that's got to be the craziest thing ever." As comfortable as it can be for me, or like public speaking. I'm fine public speaking.
Are you?
Yeah.
I always get nervous.
Well,
yeah.
You're public speaking right now.
I know, but I don't see anyone. I see Tiger Woods.
Yeah, hi Tiger.
That's it.
Love you, buddy. Yeah.
I remember when that day I ran into Dusty at Canadian Tire and he said to come on. And so I phoned him like the next day and he goes, "You want me to come on?" He goes, "Yeah, come in tomorrow or whatever." And I showed up at like 10 to 6, right? And he goes, "Oh, we were just going to have you for a segment." I go, "Oh, well, whatever. I'm here. I'll just sit there." And I just wanted to watch. Like, it was cool.
Yeah, it is.
And then
cool
so
he
goes, well, he asked me a question like 20 minutes in or whatever. So I hit the button and then we started doing things. And it's like, oh, this is kind of cool. And we got to the segment that I was supposed to be on. But I was like, at first, I was worried that I wouldn't have answers to questions, right? So I was trying to poke Dusty, okay, what are we going to talk about? What do you want me to kind of say? And he gave me like 4 or 5 things. He didn't ask me one of those things.
Wow.
So I was like, oh my God, I was panicking when he would ask me a question if to answer it right. But no, it was a definite eye opener on how it works. And I'm a fan of the origin stories, like how things work and how things progress and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see how the relationship in the commercial breaks and how everything works and how Eric worked and, well, at that time, Phrase and stuff. And it was just, the most fascinating thing is the foul language that's used in between breaks and how the switch to not swear.
Yeah.
I was like, that is amazing because there was a bunch of truckers in there in between.
Yeah.
I swear a lot. I never swore at 1260, and I think I've yet to really swear here. I haven't said the S word. I haven't said the
I
F
think I've
word.
said
Obviously.
the S word.
That's I haven't gone there yet even.
Yeah.
That's the one I still because I'm just so used to red light comes on. Got to be careful. You can't say those things, and I just won't. It won't change for me. I don't think.
Well, I just think the Muzz and Marshall are listening all the time, so I don't want to swear.
Well, that was the thing with the Nasty Bash, though, is everyone. We had a lot of people coming. You guys are going to be X-rated now, and like we talked afterwards, we're like, we're not going to be that. Because we want to make sure people, if they're listening with their kids, are still going to be okay listening with their kids and not going, well, I can't listen to this. I'm going to listen to the podcast later because I can't listen to it live because you guys are swearing and I'm driving my kids to school.
Yeah.
And that was like, we're going to do our best not to swear. Yeah. The S word's going to come out occasionally or something. It's going to happen. But for the most part, we're trying not to do that because we want people to be able to listen with Marshall and the Muzz and all of that.
Of course. I got to tell you a hilarious story. So, my son is an Oilers fan, and I have him like Blackhawks because I'm dad, So, but he's still a little shit disturber. Well, there we go. I said it. Okay. And so he'll say, like, if we're watching a game and you were over at my house, he would say, well, who are you cheering for? And you'd say, well, I'm cheering for the Oilers. And he'd say, and they're like tonight they're playing
Devils.
The Devils. So he said, well, I'm going to cheer for the New Jersey
He's
Devils.
a little contrarian.
Right. Yeah. So the other day before my Cowboys game came on, the Blackhawks were playing Vancouver on TV. And, Daddy, who are you cheering for? Well, he knows I'm cheering for the Blackhawks. And so I said, well, I'm cheering for the Blackhawks. Like, why don't you cheer for the Blackhawks? We can cheer together. And he goes, no, I'm going to cheer for the Vancouver Canucks. I'm like, oh. So the Blackhawks score first. And the Blackhawks score. And my kid's 5. He yells, F, like the full word, just yells it, F, and then follows it up with, for F's sakes.
Where do you learn that?
And I'm like, what just happened? I mean, my kid's 5, and he just throws that out when he really likes the Blackhawks, but he's cheering against them because of me, and he throws that out, and I'm like, oh my God. How does this happen?
Oh, the worst thing. I mean, at that age, I think if they swear, it's still on the innocent side of things. It doesn't matter. Once your kid's like my boy's 18 years old, and he'll swear.
Yeah,
but it's every time he does, it's like, do you have to? Like, it's your kid, you know. You still see them as little, and and I know he's an adult, and I mean he can go get me a 6-pack if I ask,
and he'd drink 5 of them and only leave you 1.
Yeah. So it's full Rusty in vacation, handing him a beer, and he's crushing it. But no, it's so weird with kids now. Like, just a total surreal moment today. Getting my kid's car, talking about a mechanic for the rest of his life as he walks away to his car, you know, and I'm sitting there in the middle of the road just going, there goes my boy.
But he still lives with you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's your oldest?
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you going to feel when he moves out? It's going to be sad.
I don't know. I think I'll be real happy for him and for me, but I think there's going to be definite... I'm going to miss these feet walking around upstairs like he's wearing cement clogs and coming downstairs and going into the fridge and saying there's nothing to eat, and then
Yeah.
going to Costco, and then coming home and half the food is gone. So there's going to be an awful time, I'm sure.
It's not
and
gonna,
plus,
not gonna be
because
happy.
now, just this morning, meeting his buddy, his old lacrosse buddy, Connor. Connor's got his own place.
Oh.
So he was...
Wheels potentially in motion then?
Well, I said, so where are you living now? He goes, well, my dad's, they live in Chappelle or whatever. And then he says, and I got an apartment in Chappelle, and I looked over at my son, his eyes just went, you got your own place? So might have to set up my son's FHSA today so he can put it towards his first home.
Wow. When it's literally like right after I graduated from high school, like 6 weeks after I graduated from high school, I moved to San Diego, California to go to college and stuff like that. I'm old, so it was a long time ago, but so my mom would phone me every Sunday night at, well, I think it was like 8 o'clock or whatever, California time. And in the background, she would have Richard Marx Right Here Waiting for You playing in the background. And I don't know if my mom's listening, but yeah, that's a chirp, Mom, because what the heck was that? But I get it, because your son's been with you for 18 years, and when he moves out, it's going to
be weird.
It's going to be
wherever
different,
you go, whatever you do, I'll be right here waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Richard Marx song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
It's a good song.
It's a good song. Oh, Mom.
my mom still, because back in the day, this is before your time, Maddie, but no cell phones, just landlines.
Not when I was older. I remember no cell phones. I remember that.
Okay, but it was cheap to like it was free Sundays. Like you could call anywhere Sundays, long distance.
You had to wait till 9 o'clock on weekdays.
Yeah. So I will still get the call from my mom, who's out on Salt Spring Island, that at like weekends? Sundays around 6 o'clock. It's just ingrained into it, and every time I give her shit. Swear that you can do this anytime. You don't have to wait till Sunday. And then I hang up on her.
Call me tomorrow. Got to learn. She's got a full plan though that like she can.
Like,
just making sure.
Yeah.
Like
things have changed, right? But
I know, but I think you still get some of those.
When you get to be, our parents' age now, technology and them.
My mom, I just bought her a new phone. And it's sitting in my house, and I have to set it up.
Here's the service.
Tonight I got to do that. Oh yeah, no, it's that return.
Yeah,
so I have to be that. And it's not my brother, it's me that has to do all the technology stuff, which I do enjoy. But yeah, I got her a new phone, so I got to go over and set that up today and stuff.
Hey, I just thought about this. We have a buddy that's a technology junkie. So just like the mechanic.
I know.
Hey, I got this new TV. I don't know how. Beer, come on over. Yeah,
I enjoy doing that stuff though. I actually really do. Wow. But the only thing is like, when there's things aren't going well, I'm very quiet. I'm trying to figure things out, and I hate being asked questions. Like it's just like, let me like. What about this?
I would
what
never
about
ask
this?
you a question. I just keep bringing you beer.
My parents will something like, well, what about this or what's wrong? It's like, I don't know what's wrong. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Just let me be. And it's just like, I just want this, like I'm focused, and it's just like, I'm just trying to figure it out. And
that's awesome.
I'm not good with the questions and stuff. Yeah. I just need to be with myself at that moment in my brain, dissecting things. There's actually only one of our former engineers at the old place. He'd be like the only person in my life that I've ever come across that could just, because he's so brilliant that it's more like the other way, but I'd be able to talk to him and he'd help me walk me through it. So
we're all brilliant at something.
Still looking for that.
Well, listen, you're pretty good at stopping pucks. Here, let me go get you some extra coffee there.
Yes, please.
You guys visit for a second.
This is the EST Hangout presented by Mott's Clamato Caesar. Top Caesar brand in the country. Matt Iwanyk, Murray McCourt, Joaquin Gage with you here. Gager and I and Matt Casson will be back at noon for 2 guys and a goalie, which will be fun. Yeah. I was supposed to have done a 2 guys with you guys a few months ago, but the internet crapped out here, and we couldn't do that. So today will be the first time I'm doing the show with the 2 of you. Very much so.
Yeah,
I'm nervous. For that one to be with the 2 of you, to be with these guys.
Listen, You can't be nervous.
I'm always
for
nervous
being
when
on a
it's
show.
all with guests. Very nervous.
Come on.
It's the flagship program.
I have to replace Dusty. Like that's the thing.
that's
I'm
hard.
sitting there replacing Dusty, and
Yeah.
I don't watch the shows that you guys watch and low
Yeah, but
key and all that stuff.
You know a lot. You will do just
We'll get
fine.
through it. We'll get through it. The boys will help me along.
Yeah.
They'll hold my hand and cast virtually. And
I can't wait to see Dusty at the Spengler actually again.
You're going out there? Or
No,
to
no.
watch and see him?
I wish. One day I will.
Did you ever play in that?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I figured you might have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
you know
It's-
something? EST to Spengler.
Oh my gosh, guys! Like, and I've pumped this thing up. I've pumped these tires so full they're about to explode. But Murray, if you ever get a chance, it's one of the greatest sporting events on the planet.
It seems like it's something else for
It's.
sure.
I sent Dusty a picture of the just the food alone is ridiculous.
really?
Because they have this the one. There's usually one truck that has the raclette, the cheese raclette, but it's on
yes,
the bread.
please.
So it's just like a plate. There'll be like a fresh bread and maybe some meats or some prosciutto or stuff. But then there's the big cheese wheel, but then it's put under a heat lamp, and so it heats up that like the cheese wheel is like huge, right? It's massive. It's like the size of a tire, and so it heats up, and then they take this big knife and they scrape the top, boom on the fresh bread, and hand it to you. The smell
That sounds
alone
unreal.
is it's Pavlov's dog. You're drooling in line waiting for this stuff. So I sent Dusty a picture. He goes, I didn't see that when I was there. I go,
Go find it."
Follow your nose, kid.
Yeah.
Follow your nose.
Did you ever hear the stories about him going to his first Spengler
Yeah.
and the work that Dave, myself, and our former boss Heather had to put in to get him there?
Yeah, because he got his like passport like a day before, didn't he? Like Dave was helping him get his
Passport was that was in this. I think that was a draft.
Oh, was
or
it?
something. It was in the summer because I had to go pick it up for him because he was on
such a
vacation
big
or something.
kid.
Oh my gosh.
No, so there was a lot of things that we learned. A few of them I remember. One was like he's in the room with Dave and I, and he just looks to Dave and I and goes, "So they use different money over there?" We're like, "Yes, they do."
Oh my god.
And so like,
Oh, Dusty.
where do I get that money to use over there? And we're like, well, you could go to the bank. And there's Calforex. Like, there's a lot of places locally you could just go. So we had to like be like, you have to go exchange your money, get their money, and spend it there. He looked at us one day and says, "Do you think they have a McDonald's there?" And we're like, They might. They probably do. Why do you care? Why are you thinking about a McDonald's in Switzerland right now? And then we had to teach him about that they have different outlets and to go to London Drugs and pick up some adapters so we could plug his stuff in. And he didn't know that. That stunned
He
him.
led a sheltered life before that.
Well, it was just we had to we walked him through. Our other boss was really focused on like the clothing and stuff and making sure he had to go get. He never
Had to go to
done
Mr. Dirk's, right, and get a couple new.
He she went one day and got them all and said this works with this and now Dusty knows what he's doing with this stuff. At the time he didn't. But that was when he would need makeup and stuff. And so our boss, and I don't know anything about makeup, but she's like, you need to go to this place. You need this, this, and this. And you need to get them to match it to your face. Mm-hmm. So he went up with actually Daryl McIntyre to show him how to do makeup, and he got stuff and he put it on, and Heather's like, how is it? Yeah, it's fine. Like they did it. It's a little light. And she's like, well, did you ask him to match it to your face? He's like, no. He's like, I specifically said it has to get matched to your face, Dusty, to look right. So we had to go back and change it. It was wonderful. And then the moment we saw him on the broadcast, we were very thrilled because he's there. He's not our problem anymore. This is all on him at this point. And then he crushed it. But
He did.
He's
we taught him that he needs to carry the suits on the plane with him, not check them, because you can't land in Switzerland and all of a sudden have your bag missing when you need to call a game.
Well, you could. There's a couple good tailors in Davos, but
I'm assuming that's gonna eat into the pocketbook quite nicely.
oh man, I'd love to go back. It's just
Anyone that ever talks about, I've never heard someone be like, "The Spengler, it's all right."
no.
You're never gonna get that.
So when you played, how did you do?
We did okay. We didn't win. I was with Team Canada, but I think we finished second, or was it third? I remember the one game we ran up against. I think it was Munich, a team from Munich, which was essentially Team Canada too. Like there was 14. Wow. Like I'd played against all these guys either in the NHL or the American League at one point or another, with some really good German guys that were on their team. So I think we lost to those guys. I think that was to go to the final, and then we won where we were third place. Yeah. I think that's how it worked out. But I what was great was remember Rick or Paul DiPietro.
Yeah.
So old Montreal Canadiens scored a bunch of goals in the playoffs one year. He was playing in Switzerland at the time, and we were there, and he got the puck, and because he played for, I believe, Lugano at the time, which in that region of Switzerland is all Italian, and with his name obviously, but the fans start yelling "Di Pietro Baffangulo." And if you're Italian, you know what that means.
And if you're not, what does it mean?
It's the Di Pietro FU.
Oh.
So he actually implemented a rule in Switzerland because they would be saying this to Paul during the games, and he started giving everyone the finger. So the next year, because it was just the middle finger. He said, you cannot give the fans the middle finger. So the next year they started saying, so he just started going like this. So it wasn't one finger, but it was two. So he did it like that. And at the Spengler, I don't know if they still do it, but for a Game Star, they actually give you a little ounce of gold. So I actually won it one year.
Wow,
I got this little Spengler ounce of gold. Di Pietro, the fans were booing him and stuff. He got player of the game the one game, grabbed his medal, skated around and threw it in the crowd. You should have seen it.
Really?
Yeah. It was,
wow.
So
You still have that gold?
my dad sold it.
With your knowledge?
Yeah.
Or without?
No.
Oh, that's a boo.
Yeah.
Did he get good coin for it at least?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What was an ounce of gold? Whatever gold was at the time, probably. So that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what a memento that would be
I
for you
know.
to keep.
I know.
What's the
So
biggest
we'll
thing
get you to go
won?
back. We'll get you to play, by the way. We'll just get you on the team. We'll get Dusty to pull some strings. You go be part of the team.
I actually before we went to the Spengler, probably a few days before, we toured and played some of the club teams in little other regions, and we played, I think, Bern in a small little region where it was pretty cool. It was in a valley, but the whole other side where the sun was a watch factory. So after the game, they Game Star. I happened to win the Game Star that one too. But
Wow. Jeez.
we got the watch from the factory, and it was completely see through, where you could see all the gears and stuff. But it was kinetic. So it charged with the movement of your wrist. I'd never seen that before. Some of those high end ones do that now, but that was
Ahead of its time then.
yeah. So that was 99. 99. So yeah, that was probably and I got some really, like, in Game Stars in Slovakia. It's crystal. It's all. Like, Slovakia is really known for its crystal, so I have all these really fancy vases that
From all your players of the game there too.
I was good over there. But yeah, well, it's not that I was good; is that we
Take the credit.
no. Well, when a goalie, when he stops 45 to 60 shots, and you even if you lose by a goal or you win, you're kind of highlighted a little bit. So
So those are higher up than all the Vesnas and Stanley Cups that you won?
I replaced Vesnas with Slovakian crystal is what I did.
Yeah, okay,
but
good.
actually, I got this really cool thing in Russia too. I got a VCR one time, which was completely useless for a Game Star. There's another story for off air with that VCR. But I have this really cool plate. It's a Russian plate with the churches in the back, like the turrets, and I'll bring it in one day. I got this for Game Star once. It's I probably like that the most. I'd probably like that piece of gold really a lot right now, but that plate it's a beautiful hand painted Russian plate. That's pretty cool.
I love the Spengler. I love just looking at the rosters when they come out and seeing the players like, oh, he's still playing, and like just going through all of that. It makes it so much fun.
Oh, dude.
And it is just a
haven't
fun
seen the
tournament.
rosters
Watch.
this year. Who's playing?
It's never comes out like it comes out like the day or two before.
we
Like
don't
I
know
think
who's
Dusty
playing
will
for
know
Canada?
him. I think Dusty finds out a little sooner, but I
Usually-
think Canada's
Usually,
they don't
the
announce
rosters.
it. Yeah, they don't
Oh,
announce
right.
it like the Canadian one. They don't usually announce it. Like I think the players know who's going right now. I don't think they're still trying to find out.
Yeah.
But for some reason they don't announce it until like the day or two before the tournament or something.
Well, I was with the last Team Canada traveling team, so we played in all those tournaments. Actually, the old Izvestia, which is called the Baltica now, Vladimir Putin dropped the puck at our game. He had first. That's when he first became, is it Prime Minister of Russia? Or dictator, Prime Minister, whatever. President.
I think he's president,
Yeah,
then went to prime minister for a little, back to president.
Yeah, so I could have ended all this with one swing of my
could've.
stick. Yeah, way back then.
Ukraine would love you. You'd be a hero of Ukraine
I know.
right now.
I should have just ran over there and just cross-checked him right in the teeth. But
See how that would have went.
yeah, that
There would have been a lot of machine guns going at you right there.
We'd have had a nice in memoriam for Joaquin Gage somewhere.
that would not have gone well. I mean, Russia. We went there twice. One time just for 2 weeks traveling to all the different little towns. Really cool. But we had a cop car in front of us and a cop car behind our bus everywhere. And just imagine driving all over. And it was, God, that was a fun trip though. It was the best bunch of guys, like one of the best years of playing. And it was probably because it was like myself, we were a bunch of bubble players,
Yeah.
you know? And so used to getting called up, sent down, or things not going, you know. And finally, we actually had a team meeting because we were acting like minor leaguers at the beginning, like that whole competitiveness to sign somewhere at all this. And Paul, PA, our captain, I remember we had a huge meeting, and he was like, because this was his second kind of tour, he'd played with Team Canada before. And he was like, "Look, guys. No one's going anywhere. We're here for a reason right now.
Yeah.
But the only way that things will work out for us is if we play together. It's not about individuals. This isn't the American League. This is Team Canada. Not only are we playing for each other, but we're also playing for our country." And that was like a huge, right?
Yes.
Like this
Big deal.
This is a lot bigger than my future career. I'm representing my country. And after, like, you know, it was always so cool going into the dressing room and seeing your jersey there with the Canada on it.
Yeah,
right?
of
It was
course.
so awesome. But and then we played well. Kent Simpson was part of that team. Like it was so much fun. So much fun. I'm upset that Kent's not going with Dusty. More upset that I'm not going with Dusty. But yeah, I loved Kent.
You know, so you just said something that I think the listeners would love to hear about, and I don't know if you've talked about it before or not, but you said called up, sent back down, called up, sent back down. What do those conversations look like?
Oh,
And like, what do they look like? And then like both ways, how did it make you feel? And I know it happened a lot with you, but so there could be maybe several stories, but I think that'd be a great thing for the listeners to hear about is what those conversations look like. And
you want me to
how
start
it goes on.
crying right now?
Oh, wow.
No, they're one of the hardest. Sometimes you can see the writing on the wall a little bit, and you know when the trainer comes up to you and says, "Coach wants to speak to you," and you're okay. You make the trek back to the coach's room, and then sometimes the GM's in there too, and then right then you know something. And at first there might be a glimmer of hope with a trade, but you're thinking, okay, and then
Is that a glimmer of hope? Is trade better than being sent down?
Yeah,
Well,
because
opportunity
opportunity
to play,
somewhere
yeah.
else, right? Like you could get a chance with someone else. So, but that was never the case. And it's never. It's always tough. It's almost like it's Charlie Brown, the teacher, talking. You can hear it. You know what they're saying, but you're just like, oh my God, I'm getting sent down. I worked so hard to get back here, and I thought I was doing the right things to stay, and they kind of go through what they want you to do, what they expect from you when you go down. There's going to be opportunity at some point, and essentially there's a lot of, you have to stay ready because you are the first guy that's getting back called up if something goes wrong here. So there's a little bit of the best way to describe it is there's a breaking down of the things why you're getting sent, but then there's the building back up, which a lot of the great ones did. Craig McTavish was great about it. I mean, he ripped me, but then built me back up to, we need you ready and stuff. So there's that. You have to give that glimmer of hope, because when you get down there and it's a meat grinder, man. It's different for a goalie. But I mean, I was on multiple American Hockey League teams where the best player wasn't always the first call up, right? If you're picked in those first 2 rounds, and something goes wrong, you at that time you were usually the first one they thought about when you got called back up, because even if a guy was I played with guys that were picked 5th, 6th. Not even drafted, that should have been that call up in that position, but they weren't because of the draft selection and how the certain, I don't know exactly.
They spent draft capital on them,
well,
and so now there's
it's making someone look poor.
Well, and they're trying to salvage that pick.
It makes, and you know what? I always thought, I go, okay, so yeah, you're calling up your first rounder, and it looks good, but doesn't it also look good if your 6th rounder is getting called up? That you
made the steal of the draft. And
that you know what you're doing. That's not always the for sure one. That's how I always kind of looked at it. I'm like, why wouldn't that be more prestigious as an organization, that you're hitting these late picks? You've got guys that can play. Yeah. So, and I know for certain there were guys that should have been called up before that. So, but it's getting called up now.
Yeah, let's hear about that.
That's elation. That's like, yeah, here we go. All right. When am I playing? Where am I? Got that new, okay, you're calculating, okay, that's 6-7 days left in this pay period, NHL pay, all right.
Exactly.
That's good. That's a trip at the end of the year. But no, it's a lot of fun. You want to get called up in a good situation too. That's another thing. Not so much because maybe it's an injury or maybe a guy's not performing. If you're coming up to a team that's not doing well, that's tough, because you're so jacked, and you go into a room where guys are on a 5-game losing streak, and everyone's and you come in, hey guys, how's it going? And these guys are like,
sucks.
Shut up, let's get out of this. So it's a little bit different, but it's a rainbow of emotions. Let's just say.
Well, and that's interesting. You're right away, because I wondered that, because I mean, like veterans say they're getting 125 in the A and 800 in the NHL. That's a pretty big difference.
It's a huge difference. Like that Ferrari insurance payment, almost when you get sent down, that's tough to make.
Fair enough.
With that, let's get to Movers and Shakers, which is brought to you by Marco Mike Realty. They're with Realty One Group Insider. Nice synchronization of getting a sip there. Let Marco Mike earn your trust, buying or selling. Give them the old PTO contract. Let them to prove to you why they're the best team for the job. MarcoMike.com for more information. You're not happy with people going after Stuart Skinner as much.
No. Okay. You guys are going to need to indulge me for a couple minutes on this.
Let's indulge.
Here's the thing. Let's go back a year. Stuart Skinner was a minimum NHL salary rookie playing behind a $5 million a year starting goaltender. The expectation on Stuart Skinner last year was probably to play 25 games. Campbell's going to carry the mail. Campbell's going to be the guy. He'll spell him off on the second end of back-to-backs, maybe get the odd other game here and there. And that's not the way it worked out. He ended up becoming the number one goalie. But in that process early on, they gave him a 3-year extension, which started this year. But last year, he was signed as a backup goalie, minimum NHL salary, to play 25 games behind a $5 million goalie. He earned a 3-year extension at backup money to a $5 million goalie because the team thought at that time that Campbell would figure his stuff out and play and still be the number one goalie. So that 3-year deal, the expectation probably was that he'd go from 25 games in year one, maybe 35 in this year, maybe, 35, 40 next year. And then in that third year of that contract, he'd be pushing to be the number one. And then they'll figure out, what are we going to do with Stuart Campbell in the year 3, year 4, when Campbell's contract is almost up. So now let's go back to last year. Campbell stinks. And as a rookie, he makes the all-star team. He backstopped the team to a playoff spot, wins the first round. Battled in the second round, ended up losing. Sure, he faded a little bit in the end, but he was expected to play 25 games last year, and people are crapping all over him when he far, far, far exceeded any expectation that anyone should have had on him a year ago. Now this year, going into this year, Jack Campbell, everyone thought, because he had those couple of good relief appearances last year, that, Campbell's going to be back, and so maybe they'll split and see who's the hot guy going into the playoffs and whatnot. But originally, when Stewart signed that $2.6 million deal behind the $5 million guy, he was expected maybe this year again to play 35 games. And now Campbell's in the minors, taking away starts from a legitimate prospect in Rodriguez. So they're stunting Rodriguez's development for Campbell to be down there trying to figure out his game, which I realize is important for him to try to find his game too, but you're also now stunning the development of Rodriguez. And Skinner is thrust into this spotlight when he's not paid to be a starting goalie. He's in his second year, and people are dumping all over him, where he's being put into a position where nobody expected him to be at this stage of his career. People need to cut him some slack because he's not being paid. He's not expected to be this goaltender that is going to steal games and he's going to lead him to the Stanley Cup. That's not where he's supposed to be at in his career and his development. But he's being forced into that because of a ridiculously stupid signing that is now cash-strapped the team and put him in a horrendous position. And it's cost a great head coach's job. It's costing Stewart to be put into a position that he's maybe not fully ready for at this stage of his career, and he's doing the best that he can, and everyone's crapping on him, and it's driving me absolutely nuts because you can't expect him to steal games and be that when he's at this point of his, that's not what he was signed to be. And so people are blowing up, Skinner sucks. Like, man, he has far exceeded any expectation that anyone should have had on him at this point of his career. And I think he's still growing and he's still developing. He's an absolutely phenomenal person, has a great attitude, and I don't feel like any of this is really phasing him. But man, like, people need to just settle down. The blame on this needs to be pointed at Ken frickin' Holland for signing a goalie that clearly, if he would have called anybody in Toronto, they would have said, are you out of your mind? You can't sign that guy to 5x5. And now that's, like I said, it's cost a great coach a job. It's putting Stewart into an unwinnable position when he's not quite ready for it. And I feel like Stewart's going to have a long, successful career in the NHL. And just the fans are, it's just driving me nuts because he's exceeded all expectations that anyone should have had.
All right. You make a great point, Murray. When you look back and see the progression of him, it does exceed what we thought 2 years ago. We didn't see the Oilers goalie situation, myself included. I thought we would see a really good tandem of two guys battling it, more along the lines of Boston's tandem, right? I thought that's what we were going to see. Obviously, things didn't work out with Jack Campbell, and I was I was excited about I was excited about them signing him because I had watched him play a lot of those Leaf games, and he was essentially the reason that the games that I watched, that the Leafs won those games. And I was like, okay, comes here, gets a little bit more run support. I felt that, wow, this could be something special. Never happened, and it's not even happening at the American League level, right? So that really hurts. I called for Stuart Skinner to struggle till Christmas this year, just because of the success of the year prior. He's going to put a lot more expectations that if we talk about how we thought things would go, he would have more of a steady progression instead of getting thrust in to being the number one guy. As a goalie, you always, like, in the back of your mind, I'm going to be the guy. Like, you don't get to that level without that level of arrogance, so you don't make it. But I think just with the success and the stubbing your toe in the playoffs didn't help him coming into this year. If he had something to build on a little bit more from that playoff experience, I don't think we would have seen the struggles. But then again, I to me, goaltending isn't a problem with the Oilers. It's consistency and a willingness to play a certain way to be successful. I think the Oilers want to play a really high-skilled men's league game. When push comes to shove, they play the right way when their backs are against the wall, and everything was going well there. You know, they had a good game against Tampa.
Yeah, sure, Stewart didn't have a great third period.
Well, yeah, one really. I don't know if there's another game where there's some goals, but that one was really on the goalie. Like those games,
and those are going to happen. But again, he's not being paid as a number one goalie. There was never an expectation for him to be the number one goalie at this point.
No, he needs support from not only the goaltending tandem, but also the play of the team as well, right? Like, you look at last game, everyone doesn't like the one that squeezed through, but also that's where you need help from your teammates.
And the run support.
Yeah.
If people were screaming at Stewart after that game.
Yeah.
So if the Oilers were going to win, Stewart had to have a shutout. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But the flip side to that would be there isn't that game where he then has where the Oilers goalie the other team. At some point, you need that from
he
the
hasn't
goalie.
had one yet.
He hasn't had one of those yet. And if he may be paid as a backup right now, but if you want to be paid as a starter, you got to go show that you are a starter.
This is still his second year in the league.
Full year.
Right.
Because one of the mistakes the Oilers did make was back when he had the shutout against, can't remember, St. Louis or whatever, 2 years ago. And
San Jose.
Sent him down and never brought him up again, and they went with Koskinen and Mike Smith the rest of the way, as opposed to being like, hey, trying to figure out a little more what they had in Stuart Skinner to make a decision, where maybe if they liked what they saw, they didn't need to go pay for Jack Campbell in that summer. They could have found something else to have worked in that situation, and that was a big mistake there. But I also do think that while there is anger towards Stuart Skinner and some of those goals, anyone that is mad at Stuart Skinner is always going, this is Ken Holland's problem. And they are always bringing up Ken Holland. And they know that he's the main guy to blame. And when they say go get a goalie, it's because Stuart Skinner's not there yet.
And looking at last game, the two other goals, you have to do something special to stop those pucks. Like that, those are two almost unstoppable pucks. Sorokin let in a terrible first goal. Like that, everyone's talking about how great Leon. Oh, what a great goal! That was awful. That was a terrible goal. Like, and so Stuart Skinner allowing that one, and sometimes you get a little bit more help from your defenseman in that time, and he clears it. So those are two suspect goals. So it evens it out. Now you need your team to pick you up from that point, and to allow those two chances. One power play, the shorthanded goal was stupid, just ridiculous. So yeah, watching the nasty chat that night, I was like, I don't have as much testicular fortitude as Cass with responding to people and stuff. But maybe tonight, I'll be on there tonight.
Are you on tonight?
No.
Oh, you're just jumping in.
I'll jump into the chat. Can I get a wrench? I need a wrench.
It'd have to make you like an admin of our YouTube. We could get that done.
But
I don't see why not.
The Oilers are playing in the NHL.
Yeah.
They're playing against great hockey players. Tonight, they're playing against the New Jersey Devils. Yep. Look at all the great offensive players they have there. New Jersey's going to score some goals tonight. 100%. Doesn't matter who the heck the goalie is for Edmonton. They're going to score because they have some great players.
Sure, if they don't, we'll win. Or
fair.
The Oilers will win. Sorry.
But the other side is game 2 of the year. Casey Smith didn't allow the goals in against the Oilers, who have a lot of good offensive firepower.
Wow.
Why did that happen? Because he had a great goaltending game, and that's, again, something that the Oilers just don't get. Wow. They don't get that game where there might be great firepower on the other team, but the goalie shut them down. We could sit there and say the Oilers goalied someone tonight. It's always everyone talking about how the Oilers got goalied tonight, which also, I don't like that saying when it's a top goal. Like Vasilevsky didn't goalie the Oilers.
He's
just Vasilevsky.
He's good.
Yeah.
That's who he is. Plus, he also let in 4 goals. Like
it is so frustrating. Like as a goalie going from the American League to the National Hockey League. I mean, there's some great goalies in the American League too, but you can almost, until guys kind of figured out there's always one bad one that they allow. So, once you get that out of your game, you go to the next level. Like doing something on a regular basis that teams have to do something special to get the puck past you. But I remember playing against like bona fide NHL guys, and you didn't get a freebie. There was no freebies the whole game. Like they stopped everything. You had to do something really special, a weird bounce, deflection, something like that to score on them. And it was like, it's tough mentally when you see a guy playing like that, because now well, there's going to be a chance. We're out of this because the guy at the other end is unconscious right now.
Yeah, but it's the same thing when you look at and goalies are a little different scenario because you're playing the whole game. But if you put like Adam Ernie up in the top line and he's playing 20 minutes in a night, well, that's not going to work because he's playing above his capabilities. Or if you put, like
Connor Brown,
yeah, I wish they've been trying. How'd that work out? Still, you and I've been calling Ken Holland, but if you put Desharnais up playing 22 minutes a night, well, he's going to fail because that's not who he is. So if you're playing Stuart Skinner 60 games a year in his second year in the league, when that's not where you ever planned or thought he would be in his evolution of his career at this stage.
But he was showing it last year.
Yeah, he's
down that
exceeding his
stretch,
expectations.
He was in net every night, and he was putting up great games.
Yes. He's exceeding expectations.
There comes to a point where you got to get past that, and that's where, there were a lot of people that I think going into this year thought Skinner was the number one. He was the goalie, and Campbell had to earn the chance to be past, become 1B as opposed to backup.
Last year wasn't a fluke. Last year wasn't a fluke for Stuart Skinner.
He's a good goalie. He's a really good goalie.
He's a fantastic goaltender.
And going to be in the league for a decade or more.
You have to have patience with a guy in his second year, still figuring stuff out. And with the added, everyone puts the pressure on him, but there's a pressure to go all the way and hoist that thing.
Yes.
Right?
That's the problem for anybody who's not at the top level right now, where it's Stuart Skinner's job might not be maybe this development being a starting goalie, but the Oilers are at that point where they need a starting goalie, a bona fide starting goalie that could lead them to a Stanley Cup.
Paid somebody $5 million to do it.
Yeah.
And Where is he?
Do you think
Struggling in Bakersfield.
if they didn't have such high expectations coming into this year, like more of an underdog attitude instead of we're gonna rip through this thing, would have benefited, especially a guy like Skinner coming into this?
But how could you be the underdog at that point?
I'm just
Like,
saying,
that's the only
I
thing,
know,
like-
but if they were like,
I think this team is at their best when they're not considered.
Well, yeah, they
like
are.
I don't think it's a coincidence that the 2 off seasons where they've been the almost consensus Stanley Cup champ,
They come
they've
in
had
and-
bad years
Yeah.
that season. You know, at the year after 16-17 when the playoffs with Chiarelli and Todd McLellan missed the playoffs, just weren't good. This year, we all know what's happened this season. I don't think it's a surprise. I don't think that's a coincidence that when there's all of that, and like they played into it a little bit to where Leon said it's cup or bust. They did the captain skate this year because they were ready to go. They want to go and be ready to start to win the cup this year. That maybe there needs to be a little more, I don't want to say looseness, but lack of a better term right now, a looseness around this team coming into this season.
it happens to me on a regular basis. I go through a summer of everyone telling me how great I am, but come fall, I lack a little bit those first few months. So it's, but yeah, it's weird to. I mean, how many people came up to every single one of these guys saying, "Oh, wow, you guys could win this thing next year," you know? And so
No one talking about the Golden Knights. It was them.
yeah.
But there was still, and we talked about on the show like many times when I'm on, there's still lots of questions there. I think people were expecting Broberg to take a big step. People were expecting Holloway to take a big step. People were expecting Campbell was going to have a bounce back. People were expecting like a lot of things. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to produce at the same level they did last year, which, I mean, they started to get there a little bit lately, but you know, a lot of things just haven't happened the way people maybe expected they would, and in fact, a lot of those things have gone the opposite way. And
Good thing you're a Chicago fan.
Next week road trip is an interesting one because it's like this is like the road trip's
Yeah,
broken up.
broken
But
up,
you
yeah.
got LA, you got Anaheim, you got San Jose in there. You have to take the San Jose Anaheims.
yeah,
The LA game's going to be
That's
very
what I want to
interesting.
watch.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
what
let's see who you are in the West. Let's
Yeah.
see, because also the Western Conference is weak this year. The Oilers, I'm still feeling really good that they're going to get to the playoffs.
I agree.
They'll
I think
get
they
there.
will do.
But what will happen once you get to the playoffs?
They'll get beat.
What will happen when you have to take on the Kings or the Golden Knights or the Canucks or the Avs or the Stars or something? Are you prepared for that? Is this team built for that? It doesn't look like it. But that's going to be a big game because you go out and you get a nice win there. Okay, you can feel a little bit good about yourself, and then you can maybe try to rattle off 3 straight there. This seems very streaky. If you lose that one, it's just hard to see anything happening. this season.
After I usually I have hockey games on at night, and I watch for a bit and fade away. Last night, watching the Winnipeg Jets, my God, they were phenomenal last night. And that's without arguably one of the best goal scorers in the league. Like they're a scary team.
they can goalie you too.
Oh, and and then they
absolutely,
can
goalie you.
absolutely goal you.
Yeah.
They were really, really impressive last night. So, man, I'm after watching the Canucks and looking at both. I mean, the matchups are a little bit similar. I can't wait to see the Canucks play the Jets there. But man, I have the Jets being. I think they're the best team in Canada right now.
They might need another D man though.
Yeah, that Morrissey's really quite good. I've always liked Pionk. I think there's something that yeah, you're right. They probably do need something there, but their forward group seems
Really good.
That Lowry was just a beast last night. Like, talk about a guy that not like a true leader in the sense where it's vocal and it's his play on the ice. He seems like one of those guys that's not willing to tell someone to do something that he's not willing to do himself. And he just perfect hockey player.
That was Movers and Shakers, brought to you by Marco Mike Realty, Realty One Group Insider, MarcoMike.com for more information. Do the Oilers win these 2 games? They split in these next 2 before Christmas break. Like, it's really weird how just streaky that they kind of are. You know, you get this 8-game win streak in there, and now you're back to losing 3 in a row, and like Is this split?
It's going to be
good
tough
enough
tonight. It's going to be really tough tonight.
Rangers and Ranger, the next one, like, oh, man.
Yeah, Rangers even going to be even tougher. How would you play the goalies in these two?
Well, it's good. They're going with Pickard tonight, right? I believe.
I haven't looked.
Ooh.
So yeah.
So Pickard, Skinner tomorrow. I like that.
And Brown's in the press box. Tonight.
Brown's in the press box.
So that's kind of when you do that, it kind of lights the fire. Not only hopefully for the guy in the press box, but throughout the lineup as well.
It is Pickard tonight.
Yeah, I missed those. I saw the Stoff lines yesterday, but I focused on the Connor Brown. I didn't.
I mean, he
look
beat
at
him
the
before,
goaltending.
right?
Yeah,
Like so,
Beat him. Plus, I like that if your roster's tired going into the second game, go with your better goalie to hopefully balance that out.
hopefully goalie the other team.
In a sense, right? Like it's as opposed to then also putting your backup in there where like tonight you'd hope the team would step up a little bit like they did last Sunday against the Devils and produce in front of them. That tomorrow it's then a Skinner could step up and do it for the players who are tired after doing it for hopefully Calvin Pickard tonight type
They're
thing.
tired. I mean, they probably staying in this exact same hotel because it's 20 minutes this way, 20 minutes that way.
Well, 60 minutes of high-end exertion.
Yeah.
There's a tiredness that comes from that and not getting the full rest.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, if anything, I thought there would be the opportunity for Skinner to play both.
Yeah.
Because of the location and not.
Yeah.
It's almost on the road home game where you're going back to the same hotel, you know, and it's not that far. You're not getting on a plane. You're not in the air for a few hours, being even more hydrated from that.
Been used to the bed for a couple days.
Get a 3-day break right after it.
Yeah, so
I would have played.
And the thing that worries me a little bit is because of the way that the Oilers manhandled the Devils here. There's going to be a little bit of redemption.
Yeah,
you know?
the Devils are good. Although their coach, I mean, they're a loaded team, and their coach is on the hot seat all of a sudden because they're not necessarily playing to the level that.
Well, high expectations for them too coming to this season, where it was who was going to come out of the East. The Devils were one of those teams thrown out there quite a bit.
Yeah,
and it's not happening.
They're okay. They're
I think first team out,
but they're just not meeting the expectations that were thrown their way either. So
who is first team out right now?
I wanted to ask you about a golf question. Just watching Tiger and his son.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Tiger's son has the capability of becoming a good live PGA guy? Or is it too early?
Well, no. At his age, Tiger was winning every single thing that he played in.
Okay.
And Charlie's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, Charlie's a really good player for his age, but he's not an elite player.
Okay.
At his age now, will that change moving forward? Maybe. Mm-hmm. He has so many of the same mannerisms. I mean,
I know it's crazy.
It's just so hilarious because the viewers can't see it, but there's Tiger Woods.
We got a cutout
Tiger Woods right there, and he has so many of the same mannerisms as he does, and he's competitive like Tiger is. He may grow and develop into a player that could maybe play golf for a living, but he's certainly not playing at such an elite level as Tiger was at that time.
Okay, so he's like Jason Bunn Sr.
Yeah, what a
Jason Bunn
there.
Sr., if you were to see him back in the day just skating on the ice, you would have thought it was Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
Like the stride, the way he did things. He fashioned his game, and it got him drafted in the first round. But he, he was, what's the word? Soft.
Yeah,
He was it was pretty bad. He was a funny character, that guy, man.
and the expectations on him were so high.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me, and Ryan McLeod, not the same level as Bond Senior. It kind of reminds me that when I was the GM of my junior team, I got a player back from Junior A to my team. His name was Alex Tamaris. And when you get a guy back from the higher level, you always think, oh, this is going to be phenomenal. They said, like, this guy is the greatest skater. So in our league, he was the best skater there was. And he would get the puck and he'd skate around and do all this stuff and skate around, but he'd never accomplished anything.
Yeah.
And I look at Ryan McLeod and you look at Jason Bunn Sr. and it's like, they had all this talent, but they skate around, but they never accomplished anything. and just reminded me of this guy I got on my side. We ended up having to cut him. Because he just couldn't produce anything, but boy, did he have some mad skill that he just couldn't turn it into anything productive. Where, I'm looking at Ryan McLeod and Jason Bunn Sr. and like, same thing, right?
Yeah, Bonds, he couldn't use his backhand, which was funny. But he would always bring it to his forehand to pass. So it looked cool, right? But he couldn't use his backhand. It was couldn't pass it to his backhand. Couldn't do anything. It was
So how did scouts not pick up on that?
He played with, I believe, Ethan Morrow in junior, and Ethan was a dog on a bone, right? He would go into the corner against 3 or 4 guys, win the puck
and
get it to Bonds in the slot, and he would like toe drag some guy with his 9-foot reach and roof it, right?
Yeah.
So he looked great. And I remember when he played with, it was Matt Lindgren in the minors. Matt's got sent down. Bonds went crazy, but Matt's was doing everything.
Yeah,
like he was
a good
dancing
player, too.
5 guys and then getting the puck to Bond Senior, or Bonds would make the breakout pass to Mats, and Mats would go and score. He was a very, he was like a symbiote, like in Spider-Man. He just kind of hooked onto someone and made himself look good.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, it worked for a bit.
Gage is wearing the hats of EST, which is thanks to our official merch partner, the Hive Product Marketing. If you're looking for any promotional products, be sure to check them out. Products that bring the buzz, thehiveproductmarketing.com. I know Chelsea's just finishing up her work time before her Christmas break, as store orders have gone out, and if you haven't gotten them, they should at least be arriving then any day now. But that's all thanks to our official merch partner, Hive Product Marketing. We'll have some more stuff coming out in the new year. We haven't had you on the Hangout at least since last Thursday. How was Fort Edmonton on Sunday? Did everything go well?
Fantastic.
Got in, no problem, and
No, it all worked out.
Sweet.
It was great. It was my wife's birthday. Family came down. It would have been nice if it was closer together a little bit. Like the walk was fine, but they had a lot of different.
Oh, there's things just all over the place.
There's things all over. So the walk is good. It was great. All the little kiosks and stuff. Picked up some really nice. Some ginger garlic cabbage from the main tent there, but I saw Jason Strudwick down there. Waved to Struddy. The only thing I was upset is because it was the last day. Like they should have that. If you don't go next year, it's a great time. The weather was perfect. Like the weather couldn't have been better. It was only like -2 or 3.
That's probably why they don't plan to go longer, is because you never know the weather in Edmonton,
So
you can only plan for so much. We used to have those ice things that happen at Horlack Park and stuff.
So the glue vine or the mulled spice wine, unbelievable. Great job.
Well, there you go.
All ready for Christmas? Yeah, we were talking. You got your gifts all done.
A
Everything
long
else
time
set
ago,
to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Take off to Stettler tomorrow to hang out with my family for a couple of days. And then back here, we host my wife's family at our house, 25 people for Christmas dinner.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then,
What are you making?
well, turkey. A little bit of a potluck, though. We're responsible for the turkey, the gravy, and the buns.
All right.
And everyone else
smart.
brings everything else. And then a couple of days to get ready to go to Mexico. Yeah,
Very nice.
To Mexico with my wife and son. So that'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be great.
And what do you do for Christmas? Just here, or
Just here, family. We'll head over to the in-laws' place. She gets everything ready, and looking forward to it. It's funny because now with my brother-in-law, our kids he's got an older daughter, and then my son, and then his younger daughter, and then my other daughter. So they're all kind of layered with the grandkids. But we go over there Christmas, Boxing Day. We go back in the mornings, and that's when we kind of open up the gifts at that point, because a lot of the other family comes, and so we just hang out all day and maybe watch a hockey game and eat leftovers.
College Bowl season 2?
Yeah.
So not
Big day
one
on
single
Saturday.
Edmonton Oiler in the World Juniors this year. The cupboard is bare.
One of 2 teams in the NHL, I believe, that don't have a
cupboard is
prospect
bare
in the World
Really?
Juniors. I
for
can't remember who the other
Edmonton
team
Oilers'
was.
Future.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for their
that's not
long-term future right now.
They got to go win. They just got to go win.
They got to win now.
Yeah. There's still time, but it's
But yeah,
It's like when I was in Russia, we took a plane and it everything was falling apart on that plane. Like I put my seat and I hit the button, the button to go back.
Yeah.
And the seat just fell back and you could hear rattling when it started. And we were going on the runway. I was like, how long is this runway actually going to be? And because we weren't taking off. So the runway is getting a little bit shorter for the Oilers here to do something.
but they have no money. I mean, all these everyone's saying, "Oh, well, we need a first line defenseman, we need a second line winger, we need another
Brown,
goalie." Well, you have no cap space, so you can't do any of that. People, there's a salary cap
or the assets,
or the
make
assets.
those, so we'll see.
Exactly. So
We'll see what Ken Holland can do in the new
much.
year. That's it for the last Hangout of 2023.
Wow.
Murray, thanks for coming in as many times as you did this year. Same to you, Gager. I hope you both have a very Merry Christmas. You and I are going to still do a show later.
yeah.
We got 2 guys and a goalie with me, you, and Cass. So that's coming up at noon. But Murray, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Thanks. Same
And
to you, and hope the surgery goes well, bud.
appreciate that. And to all the Hangout people out there, the nasties of the Hangout, I guess. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you. Happy holidays. Coming up next, it is the Lock Shop. Huss with the Cool Bet Boys. They'll get you set for the weekend in the NFL and everything else that's going on in sports. And then, like I've said, 2 guys and a goalie, myself, Gage or Cass, will get you set for Oilers and Devils tonight. Oilstrom pregame show with Tommy and Trev also later tonight. All here on Edmonton Sports Talk, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn and our YouTube channel. Again, Lock Shop coming up next. Thanks for tuning in to the Hangout.